Nigel Farage's vocal and often polarizing political presence has once again taken center stage, this time with his fiery critique of UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer following the arrest of media personality Jeremy Clarkson. This dramatic turn of events has sent shockwaves through the political and social fabric of the UK, with Farage's scathing remarks fueling an already volatile situation. This clash between political heavyweights and cultural icons highlights deep-seated tensions within British society, offering a glimpse into the broader implications for leadership, justice, and public perception. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The arrest of Jeremy Clarkson, a figure synonymous with British entertainment and controversial wit, was already a highly contentious event. Clarkson's popularity transcends generations, with his candid commentary and larger-than-life persona making him a household name. His legal troubles have inevitably drawn significant public interest, sparking debates about fairness, celebrity accountability, and freedom of expression. It was into this maelstrom that Nigel Farage, never one to shy away from confrontation, entered with his characteristic blend of sharp rhetoric and political savvy. Farage wasted no time in framing the situation as a symptom of what he perceives as a larger issue within Keir Starmer's government. In his critique, Farage painted Starmer as emblematic of a system riddled with hypocrisy and authoritarian tendencies. His accusations portrayed the arrest not merely as an isolated incident, but as a deliberate effort to suppress dissent and stifle voices that challenge the establishment. By connecting Clarkson's arrest to broader political trends, Farage masterfully directed public scrutiny toward the Prime Minister, making the debate not just about Clarkson but about the nature of governance under Starmer's leadership. Keir Starmer, whose political career has been characterized by a measured and often cautious approach, suddenly found himself thrust into the eye of a media storm. While his administration had thus far focused on steadying the ship after years of political turbulence, this episode threatened to derail that carefully cultivated image. Farage's accusation suggested a government that was heavy-handed and out of touch with the public, a narrative that resonated with a significant portion of the population already skeptical of the political elite. The juxtaposition of Clarkson's populist appeal with Farage's sharp critique created a potent mix of discontent aimed squarely at the Prime Minister. Farage's strategy in this instance reflects his long-standing ability to tap into public sentiment and amplify it into a broader political argument. His critique of Starmer was laced with references to perceived overreach and the erosion of personal freedoms, themes that have consistently galvanized his base. For many, Clarkson's arrest became a symbol of what they saw as the encroaching grip of a government that prioritized political correctness and compliance over individual liberty. Farage adeptly positioned himself as the champion of those who felt marginalized or ignored by mainstream politics, using Clarkson's plight as a rallying cry for broader dissatisfaction. The timing of this confrontation could not have been more significant. The UK is navigating a complex post-Brexit landscape, grappling with economic uncertainty, cultural divisions, and a changing role on the global stage. Within this context, Starmer's government had been trying to project stability and competence, attempting to distance itself from the divisive rhetoric of the past. Farage's intervention, however, reignited those divisions, bringing unresolved tensions back to the fore. By aligning himself with a cultural figure like Clarkson, Farage blurred the lines between politics and popular culture, making his criticism of Starmer resonate beyond the usual political discourse. What made this episode particularly explosive was the emotional connection many Britons have with Clarkson. For decades, he has embodied a certain defiant, irreverent spirit that many associate with British identity. His unapologetic approach to life and his disdain for bureaucracy have endeared him to millions, making his arrest feel personal to his supporters. Farage's decision to champion Clarkson's cause was therefore not just a political maneuver, but a calculated effort to tap into this cultural zeitgeist. In doing so, he ensured that his critique of Starmer would reach an audience far beyond his traditional supporters, creating a rare moment of unity among diverse groups who shared a sense of outrage. The implications of Farage's attack on Starmer extend far beyond the immediate fallout of Clarkson's arrest. At its core, this confrontation highlights a growing polarization within British society, where cultural and political divisions are increasingly intertwined. Farage's framing of the issue as a battle between individual freedom and government overreach struck a chord with many, reflecting broader anxieties about the direction the country is heading. For Starmer, this posed a serious challenge, forcing him to defend not just his government's actions, but also its broader vision for the nation. Farage's critique also underscored the enduring appeal of populist rhetoric in the UK. His ability to channel public frustration into a cohesive narrative is a testament to his political acumen, even as it raises questions about the long-term impact of such divisive strategies. By positioning himself as a voice of the people against an allegedly oppressive government, Farage tapped into a deep well of discontent, highlighting the challenges facing any leader attempting to bridge the country's ideological divides. His attack on Starmer was not merely a critique of one man, but a broader indictment of the political establishment, a theme that has become increasingly prominent in global politics. For Keir Starmer, the immediate priority was damage control. Farage's critique placed him in an unenviable position, forcing him to navigate the delicate balance between defending his government's actions and addressing public concerns. The arrest of a figure as polarizing as Clarkson was always going to be a lightning rod for controversy, but Farage's intervention amplified its significance, transforming it into a litmus test for Starmer's leadership. Whether Starmer chose to confront Farage's accusations head-on or attempt to shift the narrative, the episode was a stark reminder of the challenges inherent in leading a deeply divided nation. At the heart of this clash lies a fundamental question about the role of leadership in a democratic society. Farage's critique painted Starmer as a figure disconnected from the realities of everyday life, a leader more concerned with maintaining order than addressing the genuine concerns of the public. This narrative, while simplistic, resonated with those who felt left behind by the rapid changes sweeping through the country. By contrast, Starmer's response, or lack thereof, was seen as indicative of his approach to governance, one that prioritized pragmatism over rhetoric but risked appearing aloof or indifferent. The broader implications of this confrontation are difficult to overstate. Farage's attack on Starmer, framed through the lens of Clarkson's arrest, speaks to a larger debate about the direction of British society and the values it prioritizes. Issues of freedom, accountability, and the relationship between government and citizens are central to this discourse, reflecting broader trends in Western democracies grappling with similar challenges. Farage's ability to tap into these themes ensures that his critique of Starmer will have a lasting impact, shaping public perception of the Prime Minister and his government for months, if not years, to come. The intersection of politics and culture, exemplified by this episode, highlights the complexities of modern leadership. For Farage, aligning himself with Clarkson allowed him to tap into a powerful cultural narrative, one that resonated deeply with a significant portion of the population. For Starmer, the challenge was navigating this narrative while maintaining his government's credibility and authority. This delicate balancing act underscores the difficulties faced by leaders in an era of heightened polarization and rapid social change, where even seemingly isolated events can take on outsized significance. The fallout from Nigel Farage's confrontation with Prime Minister Keir Starmer over Jeremy Clarkson's arrest has created a political firestorm that touches on much deeper themes within British society. This clash is emblematic of the underlying struggles for identity, authority, and the balance between individual freedoms and governmental responsibility. With Farage leveraging his populist clout and Starmer navigating the challenges of defending his administration's credibility, the stage has been set for a confrontation that could influence not just current events but the trajectory of British politics for years to come. Farage's strategy in this case was not born in isolation but is part of a long-running thread of his political persona, the defender of the everyman against the forces of bureaucracy and elitism. While Keir Starmer has built his image on careful, methodical governance, Farage thrives on chaos and controversy, often painting himself as the spokesperson for the grievances of those who feel left out of mainstream political discourse. The arrest of Clarkson, a figure who embodies rebellion against political correctness and establishment norms, provided the perfect opportunity for Farage to capitalize on existing frustrations. His framing of the event as a symbol of government overreach immediately resonated with a public already attuned to narratives of cultural and political oppression. For Clarkson, the stakes were not merely legal but also cultural. As a long-standing cultural icon, He represents more than just his television persona. He symbolizes a broader resistance to homogenization in British culture. Many see him as a champion of blunt honesty and individualism, qualities that resonate with those who perceive themselves as marginalized by modern political trends. When Farage stepped into the fray, he amplified these sentiments, drawing a direct line between Clarkson's arrest and what he characterized as an oppressive political climate under Starmer's leadership. This narrative not only elevated Clarkson's situation into a broader national debate, but also added fuel to the fire of cultural divisions that have been simmering in the UK for years. The implications of this political drama extend far beyond the immediate situation. At the heart of the controversy is a critical question about the role of government in regulating behavior and expression. While some see Clarkson's arrest as a necessary legal action, others view it as indicative of a creeping authoritarianism that stifles dissent and punishes those who deviate from accepted norms. Farage's intervention brought these concerns into sharp focus, galvanizing a segment of the population already wary of what they perceive as an overreaching state. In this context, Starmer's administration was put in the difficult position of defending the arrest while also addressing the broader concerns it raised. The arrest also underscores the growing tension between accountability and freedom of speech. As a public figure, Clarkson has long been known for pushing boundaries, often courting controversy with his remarks and actions. While some argue that his behavior warrants scrutiny and legal consequences, others see his treatment as an example of the state targeting a high-profile individual to make a political statement. Farage's rhetoric tapped into this latter perspective, framing the arrest as a chilling warning to those who might dare to challenge the status quo. This narrative resonated with many, particularly those who feel that their own freedoms are under threat in a rapidly changing society. Starmer, meanwhile, faced the unenviable task of steering his government through the fallout of these events. His administration had been focused on rebuilding trust and stability after years of political upheaval, but the Clarkson controversy risked undermining those efforts. Farage's accusations painted Starmer as part of an establishment more interested in consolidating power than addressing the needs and concerns of ordinary Britons. This perception, whether accurate or not, is a powerful political weapon in the hands of a skilled rhetorician like Farage, who excels at turning public discontent into a rallying cry against the political elite. What makes this confrontation particularly significant is its timing. The UK is in a period of profound transition, grappling with the lingering effects of Brexit, economic uncertainty, and shifting cultural norms. Within this context, the Clarkson affair became more than just a legal or political issue. It became a symbol of the broader struggles and anxieties facing the nation. Farage's framing of the arrest as emblematic of a larger problem tapped into these anxieties, ensuring that his critique of Starmer resonated with a wide audience. The Prime Minister, for his part, was forced to navigate this complex and highly charged environment, balancing the need to maintain authority with the imperative to address public concerns. Farage's critique also speaks to the power of symbolism in politics. By aligning himself with Clarkson, he positioned himself as a defender of British values and traditions, appealing to those who feel that these are under threat in an increasingly globalized and politically correct world. This symbolic alignment was not just about Clarkson's personal plight, but about what he represents: a defiant, unapologetic stance against perceived encroachments on freedom and individuality. For Farage, this was a masterstroke, allowing him to connect with a broad swath of the population while simultaneously undermining Starmer's credibility. For Starmer, the challenges posed by this situation are manifold. On one hand, he must uphold the rule of law and defend his government's actions. On the other, he must address the broader concerns raised by Farage's critique without appearing weak or out of touch. This balancing act is complicated by the polarized nature of modern British politics, where every decision is scrutinized through the lens of cultural and ideological division. Farage's ability to frame the debate in stark emotive terms only adds to the difficulty, forcing Starmer to respond to a narrative that resonates deeply with many Britons. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us? What are your thoughts on Nigel Farage confronting Keir Starmer? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.